yeah, spent a little time creating a little presentable demo for Vibe. Hopefully it gives a little more feel for what it is when you can see it in action. So I'm going to navigate to an app, and this could be developed by a third-party developer. That's based on the Vibe platform or the Vibe ecosystem. So this is an example. Let's say I navigated to www.collections.com, and I'm faced with this sign up screen. And this is like a standardized sign up screen that for all apps that are based on the Vibe ecosystem. So on the left side, you see the a kind of showcase of the app. Right now, it's very simple. And on the right side, you see the sign up form. And here you can sign up. So I want to sign up to this service. And here I can complete my profile. And then the app asks for consent. So this is what the app wants to do with your data. This is just an example, right? And I can allow or deny. I allow. And now I'm in the app. So I've created a Vibe account right now. And this account is, you can think of it like a Google account that you can use to sign into many different apps. So this is like a Google Drive kind of clone app where you can upload images. So let's say I upload an image. And as I said, this is just an example app. And here you can see how much storage you have. Maybe we give users a certain amount of storage for free. And if they want more, they can pay a fee or a subscription for that. Let's see, let's upload another. So here I have two files or images uploaded. And up here on the right, you can see this kind of menu that's going to be consistent across all apps. And here we can have notifications and chat and stuff like that. That's going to be with you regardless of which app you're in. And it's also kind of like Google Drive. You can have a look at Google Drive, how they do it. They have this consistent menu here, and here are the apps you can switch between. Gmail, Drive, Photos, and so on. And Vibe is similar there. Okay, I'm done with this app. Now I want to visit another app. Let's say it's a social media app. This is a new app I visit for the first time. I'm also confronted with this kind of app showcase sign up screen, but since I've gone through the sign up process, I don't need to do it again. Like all I need to do now is to allow this app to have access to my Vibe. So this application feed wants access to your Vibe. I click allow. And now I'm in another app created by perhaps another developer. That's like a social media feed app where I can create posts. Okay, I want to create a post. And you notice I can say I don't have to enter my profile and my name, and it gets that automatically. Okay, I want to upload a picture to my post. And here I have the image uploaded in my Drive app. So here you can see like this interoperability between apps, and you don't have to keep entering the same information, and you have everything, you bring everything with you. So it's kind of portable. And okay, I create this post. And I created a post, and also this post also stays with me. So if I enter another app that wants to use this post, maybe it's another social media app that's kind of designed differently, maybe it's more to my taste, I still have all my content with me, all my posts, all my connections, all my followers, so on. And then we can have like developers can reuse all these components. So like you saw here, this kind of image picker here, another developer creating another app that also requires some kind of image picking, they can use the same component. So they don't have to create that from scratch. They have it already. So we can build this very large library of reusable components that can make developers really, create new apps very, very quickly. And they also don't have to have a backend. So they can create apps that at zero cost, basically, they can host it on a free service. Since the Vibe Cloud is the background or backend, they don't have to pay for their app. Or if they want some kind of paywall on their app, we can also set that up. So when you saw that kind of sign up screen, they could be like, you need to pay to get access to this app. And they get to keep like 100% of the profit, unlike Apple Store that takes 30% and so on. So it's a lot of incentives for app developers to start using this. Yeah, and also like we can have like this, like if I hover over, you can have this like send money to a user or start a chat and so on. That's also consistent across various apps. So you bring your connections with you. You can make connections regardless of where you are. And you can connect and chat and do all this. I think chat would have been a good example app as well to kind of showcase the interoperability between these apps. Maybe every app has a chat that you can access. Kind of like Facebook, you have this kind of chat bubble you can, and that stays with you. Yeah, and then there is like how to monetize this, and you can have like a brokerage fee if you send money to someone. We take a fee from that, and we have this kind of ecosystem or platform where we can start creating a lot of specialized apps, like 1,000 different apps. Maybe some work, some doesn't. You can experiment. Third-party app developers can create, and every user that gets on the platform gets a Vibe account. If they start sending money, we make money on that. If they get nudged Like they have a certain amount of space they get, like, I don't know, 100 megabytes or 200. They start to reach that limit and they get nudged to subscribe and get more space. So we only benefit from as much usage as possible using the signing up to all these different apps and actually landing on the Vibe in the Vibe ecosystem. Let me just go over some of my notes, see if I missed something. A selling point is this is 100% oligarch free. You liberate yourself from Google Drive, and like as you can see with these apps I demoed, they are like a one-to-one replacement of existing services. So we can replace Google Drive, we can replace chat, we can replace social media, and we can just keep tracking this alpha list of things people can liberate themselves from. So it's like easier to jump to something that's very similar to they have already. So another selling point is they own their own data and identity. If they don't like the data to be hosted on our servers, they can set up their own self-host. So if they don't want to pay for more storage, they can set up their own hosting. They always have that option. There's this idea you can reward users that bringing new users to the platform. I know Linus was very keen on this kind of referral scheme. So they get a share from all the brokerage fee. I'm reading my notes. Yeah, it's an easy way for developers to monetize their application. It could be a one-time fee to get access to an application. They don't have to worry about running or maintaining a backend. And users can also be kind of confident because you can be reluctant to sign on to a new app because you don't know if it's going to be around in a few years. But with Vibe, they can be more confident, perhaps, that they will have the data. If you build it very secure and have integrity, you can kind of sell users on whenever Vibe is used, they can count on a certain level of integrity and security with the data. I think I touched on most points, and we can talk about how it can be integrated with Kamuni and how. Yeah, I'm going through my notes here. I think I touched on most. Yep.
Cool. Quick question before we maybe look at Kamuni and how it could be integrated. So with Vibe, basically everyone is storing, if you post something to your followers or in your feed, it's your private feed, and people are privately following you. And if you have this stored in like a shared cloud, so people can access that even if you're not online, if I understand correctly.
Yes.
How would this work if you self-store? Would you always have to be online so people could access, or how would that work?
if you self-host, you need your own server basically. That's going to be available when you're offline.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how that works. Then we can incorporate peer-to-peer technology as well. So we offload, I guess that's mostly interesting when we are using, a lot of users come onto this kind of managed host that we provide. We kind of want to offload as much work as possible to the client. So and the cost of running those managed servers are minimal. So when it comes to, for example, this global feed, for example, these posts are, when you create a post, you can kind of control who gets to see it. And behind the scenes, this is like every piece of content on the platform has a access control list, it's called, where you can basically specify who gets access to this piece of content. And that could be people who have a certain certificate, or you can have individuals as well. These individuals have access to this piece of content. And that's also something we can get into. So for example, this post I create is only visible by friends, and friends are people that are given out a friend certificate to, basically. So I post this, and only those who have that certificates will be able to see this post. We can also do a thing where you can create a post and people can see it, but people who don't have this certificate only gets a preview or some kind of preview of the content, basically. And if they want access, they need to be your friend, or you can even have like a membership thing where you can only see this content if you become a member of my, or have this and that certificates, let's say. So it could be a way to users to start to monetize their content, basically. And we build that into the core of the platform.
Okay, so a peer-to-peer patron kind of deal.
Yeah.
Cool.
So when we're talking about peer-to-peer, it's mostly a federated system, but let's say I have this global feed which has thousands of posts. If all the users has to go through our managed servers, it can be a lot of traffic. But if we can have a peer-to-peer system there, we can have that, if possible, users will start to communicate directly with each other to bring in content, and to create these kind of aggregated feeds, and help us create those aggregated feeds instead of the servers doing all that work. So that's where I see peer-to-peer coming in this system. It's not a core component necessarily. Same when we talk about video conferencing and stuff like that. If possible, we can, if someone sets up a video call and it's possible to directly connect with each other, that's preferable, for example. And every user might also have a limited amount of storage and compute. So it's in their interest also to offload as much work from our servers, or their own server if they set up their own server as well. So that's where I see peer-to-peer coming in. It's not necessarily a central to the system, but it can be very useful.
Cool. So yeah, maybe it would be interesting to switch over to Kamuni and then just use that as a use case, how that would work in with Vibe. And that is sort of, would Kamuni be an app or like several apps for what Vibe, or yeah, what's your thinking? How would we integrate?
So the way I can see we can start to integrate is, for example, the chat is handled by Vibe, for example. So, and then basically pieces of functionality can be offloaded to Vibe one by one. And Kamuni will be an app, ideally, like in the future, then that's kind of built on Vibe, where every data, everything is stored on the Vibe users Vibe account. So their connections, their posts, and their chats and all that. And Vibe is an app that brings it all into one interface and maybe brings all of these things together in a way that's convenient, and also the community aspect and all that, what that offers users, and being part of the Kamuni community. And basically that will be like, could be like getting a certificate from Kamuni. Once you have a Kamuni certificate, you get access to this app and this various functions on this app. And that's kind of how I envision the integration happening.
So yeah, step by step. So I'm thinking how to visualize it or symbolize it. So it's like either one could see that Kamuni might be its own Vibe account, or is it rather that Kamuni is like a place that pulls data from Vibe and presents it, so that you can just get all of the Kamuni on your Vibe app, or you can go to the Kamuni platform and get it in a different, more accessible interface, but it's pulling the same data. Is that a way to understand it?
Yeah, so I envision Kamuni being an app that uses the Vibe platform as a foundation. So all the users on Kamuni has a Vibe account, basically.
Okay, so Kamuni is in the simplest form. Then let's say everybody on Kamuni uses Vibe, and it's like established. It's like 100%. Then what Kamuni is, it pulls information from Vibe and presents it in the Kamuni interface,
Yeah.
like with a map. Okay, cool. And let's say 50% are using Vibe and 50% are not using Vibe. Yeah, it would look the same, or how would there be
Yeah,
any?
that's ideally everyone would be to not have to deal with that kind of scenario where you have like half and half. Ideally, every Kamuni user has a Vibe account. That's the most convenient and easiest solution, as I see it.
Absolutely, but I'm thinking, it'll take a while to get there.
Mm, mm.
So for people that want to log in using your email or even Google to Kamuni, because for them it's more practical, and I think one should face it that people that have signed in with Google their entire life, it's going to take a lot for them to sign in with something else. Easier for younger users that can see the value of privacy, and that'll become more and more important over time. But I'm thinking, so basically what we'd see is people who don't have Vibe will be using Kamuni like a traditional platform, like any other platform that you're used to using, and will be storing your data for you. And when you talk, so when I talk to, let's say you have a Vibe, logged in with Vibe, and I haven't,
Mm,
and I
mm.
send you a direct message. Is that sent does that message is like message is sent to your Vibe account, and you're communicating with Vibe, but Kamuni is then translating that. So there'll be like a public record or public private, like between you and me, that it's not open. It could be hacked, but but it's not. We're not openly presenting it on the platform. But so for my use, it looks like we're just chatting like we chat on Facebook or whatever. But for you, you're actually storing the conversation in your Vibe. So if I get my account get deleted for whatever reason, you still have a full record of that conversation in your Vibe app. Is that how it would work?
So that's the more complicated use case, I feel. One easy way to start is, let's say you create a post in your own circle, your profile circle, and you have connected it to Kamuni. Then one way to do it is like when you create a post, we create a copy of that post in your Vibe account. And Kamuni is handling the storage of the post on their account as well. So that's one way to create a bridge. When it comes to chat, what we can do is if I'm the owner of the chat and I have a Vibe account, then all the chat messages, that's where I feel like it starts to become a little bit tricky, because then you have this situation where some users don't have a Vibe account, and how does Vibe kind of interface with that? It gets a little bit complicated in my head. Either the easy solution is either copy, or we replace a whole like section of functionality with Vibe. So yeah, the transition and integration is a little bit tricky.
Yeah, to make it even trickier, is it possible one could imagine that all of Kamuni could be, we could have like a Vibe, a Vibe app, so that everything that is said on Kamuni gets stored in our version of Vibe. And then so it looks like you're communicating, but we're actually storing all the data. Yeah, that's one way to do it. Big and
That's one.
clunky. Yeah. That puts a little demand on our, but yeah, that would be one way to do it. And the other way would be to like, okay, there's a traditional space and there's a Vibe space. And which is probably the smartest way, like, to nudge people over to now you're, rather if you can create an Vibe account, now you get the peer-to-peer connection and the control. So yeah, and if it's easy to use.
So
Yeah.
When it comes to ease of use, like there's not so much difference creating an account on Vibe as it is now creating an account on Kamuni. It's username or email and password for both. The only thing right now is there's no password recovery on Vibe, which is, I guess, the main difference, because we don't, since we are storing the private key encrypted with their password, we don't have no access to their password. There's no way we can do password recovery unless we start storing the password and having access to their private key, and that can compromise a little bit the ethos of the platform of self-sovereignty. We don't have the ability to steal their private key and to impersonate them. They have control of their private key. So that's the one kind of, in terms of usability
Mm.
that's going to be different with Vibe.
Yeah, it sounds to me like if one creates a Vibe account, we should turn it more into a ritual, like you're creating your online identity, and that process should be like setting up a crypto wallet, which I think pretty much everyone well, everyone who's probably going to come to Kamuni would be somewhat familiar with. So you
Yeah.
have your 12 word passphrase, you know that you need to save this somewhere safe, because this is not just your cryptocurrency. This is like your entire identity, your everything,
Yeah,
as you call it.
just to be clear there, they don't need to have a passphrase. They can only have like a password um, that the password they can remember.
Mm,
Um, but also we can actually offer password recovery if they're not concerned about those self-sovereign aspects. So technically we could offer password recovery for users that are not too concerned about those things.
yes. Ada, you have to jump now, Ada. I saw you'd written a few questions. Do you have time just to read them? Otherwise, I can read them out loud.
Sure. Thank you, Patrick. It's really wanting to start using Vibe now or yesterday. So hope hope you'll get some more people on board to make this happen. Was wondering more about the timeline with this integrating with Kamuni,
Mm,
and especially for boomers like me, if it's worth waiting for having this in place before getting people on board. Is it worth prioritizing? How far away? Just to play with that idea. To change things around once you just got used to something is not
yeah,
preferable.
um, those are good questions, and I think one of the reasons to have this presentation is to start thinking about those questions.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
also with the chat functions and where to and how to and what types of communication we need. I started talking to Tim about, like, yeah, I could try to summarize ideas I had about what types of like memo systems, or when do we actually need a chat that everybody can read, what types of ways to communicate, or do we need to communicate in this. Yeah, it'd be worth to just take a time out and be strategic about what to do in what order. And yeah, thanks. I need to run for now, but I see you next week.
see.
Thanks, Ada. Yeah, should we round off with like a bit of timeline chat? What do you envision?
Sure. It's all a matter of priority. What I think yeah, it's a matter of priority how much time you want me to put on this, because
Mm,
and to get it to a state where people can start trying it out in some capacity.
mm. Cool. All right. Well, let's have a separate discussion about that. And I am going to just close this video so we can share it and see if we get some more people interested in joining the whole Vibe tribe.
Yeah.